The Late Night Legends podcast is meant for an adult audience only. It may contain sexually oriented content. Content may not be suitable for sensitive listeners. Please be aware of your surroundings. Listener discretion is advised. Watch out.
Hi, welcome to Late Night Legends. We're your hosts tonight. Sorry you're stuck with us, but I hope you enjoyed a little bit. My name is Joan. I am joined by Charlie and Frank and our host of hosts tonight, Kay. And to be honest, I forgot what topic we're talking about, so we'll circle back when we get to it.
It's on the air table.
It is on the air table.
Charlie!
Famous last quote. On the air table.
Yeah, it's North Brother Island, is it not?
It is.
Oh.
Somebody read
What's
the air
even
table.
worse is I mostly put the stuff on the air table, so I probably wrote it, forgot it. For announcements, we want you all to get excited with the ending of June coming up very soon and the start of July that we are getting naughty. We are going in hard and coming out wet for July with our nautical topics. I was on swim team in high school, and that's what we used to chant: "Go in hard, come out wet." I'm HR and legal for Late Night Legends.
So it's okay if she says it.
So it's fine if I say it.
I think we've determined that it's okay if others say things, but when I say things, that's when there's an issue.
It's the way you say it. It's the tone.
Whatevs.
So we're going to get nautical with that coming up, so we're very excited. You might notice that Jesse is off tonight, and so is James, just for that quickly, as mentioned before. Frank, do you have any further announcements before we go right into these brothers?
Yeah, really quick, I want to thank Larry Eisler for coming on last week. We had a wonderful time. You could all check out that show if you are so inclined. It was incredible. Just, again, want to thank him. Want to thank Dave Scott for having Jesse on, who made an appearance on Spaced Out Radio. I was there for a few minutes. I know that Joan was there for probably longer than me. And I also want to say that we noticed that a lot of our listeners and fans were on that stream, but those people never comment on us when we go live. So if you are watching us and you'd like to say hi, don't be intimidated by Lord Cronus in the chat. Go ahead and say hi regardless. If you have questions or if you want to engage us, feel free to do so. You don't have to be weirded out if you already are. Outside of that, we're going to have some time off coming up between July and August. I know I'm taking some time off, and James is off the month of August. So you guys are going to see a lot of Joan and Charlie, and I think Kay, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, cool. And then maybe some Shayna. Maybe some Shayna, and depending on how things go, maybe some Justin too. We'll see. And also another announcement that we kind of, if you're part of our Discord community, you were part of this announcement earlier, we're actually hiring for our sister podcast, Super Balls. If you listen to that content and you're familiar and you think you'd be a good host or know somebody who would be, let us know. We got 2 slots for that particular show. Somebody's cat is making some noise because I think the cat wants to be on Super Balls, but
it was perfect. You're like, if you know someone who wants to be here.
Oh, big channel, man.
Oh. He is talking to the microphone.
Say
3
hi.
fingers away.
Say hi.
He is so he's one that just does not look. He's got RBF.
He just cost me $600. So. Yeah.
Rude.
You guys. So out of this team, only Joan has met my best friend Ryan. We took his cat to the vet once on the day that GTA 5 got released. And we went to Best Buy, came home with GTA 5 and a new PlayStation to play it on the TV, and his cat had a problem. We took him to the vet. And then Ryan was like, next time we go to the vet, it better be to get you cremated because I am not letting you interrupt GTA 5 again. One of the best jokes ever. It was awesome. But, outside of that.
Not why are you thinking of my grandma in 69? That was a pretty good joke that came out of him the night I met him.
Oh, God. He went from almost blackout drunk to blackout drunk while you were there. It was great.
I witnessed it.
He is a delight. But,
the soul left. It was great.
Yeah, so if you know anyone that wants to work with our team, you'd be working with Super Bowl's crew directly and Late Night Legends people indirectly. It's a really fun time, very little commitment. And yeah, let us know if you're interested. You can go into our link to our Discord, which is in the description. Hit us up there, send a DM there, or you can email us as well. We'll have details on that probably in post. But outside of that, I've got no further announcements.
Okay, we ready to get into it?
Let's go.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to be talking about North Brother Island tonight and all of the kind of weird things that have happened there. So, of all the forgotten and mysterious places in the 5 boroughs of New York City, few have histories as rich and interesting as that of North Brother Island. Situated in the Hell Gate, a particularly treacherous stretch of the East River, North Brother was home to the quarantine hospital that housed Typhoid Mary, was the final destination of the General Slocum during its tragic final voyage, and was the site of an experimental drug treatment program which failed due to corruption. Riverside Hospital, the name of the facility on the island throughout its various incarnations, treated everything from smallpox and leprosy to venereal disease and heroin addiction. After the Second World War, it housed soldiers who were studying under the GI Bill. The entirety of the island has been abandoned since 1963. Over a dozen buildings remain in various states of disrepair. In 1885, the first patients were received at the second incarnation of Riverside Hospital. Various pavilions and tents were hastily constructed to segregate different diseases. Smallpox, scarlet fever, tuberculosis, typhoid, diphtheria, and even leprosy were demarcated on the island. The architecture was bland and utilitarian, and the treatment methods were primitive, but for the time being, the overcrowding on Blackwell's Island was no longer an issue. So originally, this island didn't have anything on it. Nobody really lived there because there wasn't a fresh water source. And Blackwell Island had the original Riverside Hospital, and when smallpox broke out originally, it just started getting just overrun with patients. So they built a brand new, awesome hospital over on North Brother Island, but they started having a lot of problems. So they had this grand plan for this hospital, but as smallpox just started blowing up, and then they were dealing with all of these other diseases that needed to be sectioned out, they started running out of room. They started throwing people in tents outside and hastily constructed buildings, and so people were dying of just cold. And at one point, the section of the river where they were bringing the ferry with supplies over they just couldn't get across it during the winter. So they had to ration their coal, and people were just dying of cold in the hospital because they didn't have any heat. They ran out of water. They ran out of food. It was just a really bad situation. So most of the people that went to this island either died from their disease or died from one of those other reasons. Anybody who did come back had these horrible stories to tell. So people in New York actually started hiding their family members that were sick which made the problem even worse. So they did a big overhaul to try to make it better. They added telephones, they let families start to come visit, all this stuff. But a lot of people died here. And so there's definitely some accounts of people seeing spirits, people seeing apparitions of people in like hospital attire, gowns, things like that. I couldn't find any information on exactly how many people passed away on this island, but I'm imagining it was quite a few. Yeah. So another thing that happened in this area was one of the worst disaster loss of life that happened in New York until 9/11. And that was the General Slocum disaster. So June 15th, 1904, the General Slocum was carrying 1,358 passengers, and these were mostly women and children. A church had rented this ferry or this steamboat to take them to another island for a picnic. And about 30 minutes after they had left the bank, a fire broke out in the front of the ship, and they don't exactly know why, and they don't exactly know where, but typically if a fire breaks out on a certain point of the ship, a captain will steer the ship in a direction that doesn't allow the wind to spread the fire, and this captain didn't do that. So he just turned and started sailing, and the wind started pushing the fire from the front to the back. And from the time the fire started to the time the entire ship was fully engulfed was 20 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah. So back in this day and age, women and children really didn't know how to swim. So an entire ship completely engulfed in flames with women and children that don't know how to swim. And back then, the clothes were very heavy. So this is all bad news. And then to add to that, people started trying to pull life rafts off the ship, but the life rafts were bolted down and painted over.
Oh,
so
no.
They couldn't get the life vest or the rafts off. And then moms started throwing life vests on their children and tossing their children overboard. And the life preservers were so old and in such a bad state that they just ripped and disintegrated, and their kids just like sunk in the water.
Oof.
Yeah. The crew grabbed fire hoses, and the fire hoses were also old and worn out. So as soon as they tried to get them connected, they just ripped. So there was nothing that they can do. And they had wrote this about the life preservers. It was discovered that Nonpareil Cork Works, suppliers of cork materials to manufacturers of life preservers, placed 8-ounce iron bars inside the cork materials to meet minimum weight requirements.
Holy shit.
Many of the life preservers had been filled with cheap and less effective granulated cork and brought up to weight by the inclusion of iron weights. Canvas covers, rotten with age, split and scattered the powdered cork. Managers of the company were indicted but not convicted. The life preservers had been manufactured in 1891 and had hung above the deck unprotected from the element for 13 years. So people were like donning their life jacket and jumping in, and it would just rip, and cork pieces would go everywhere, and then they had iron bars in them.
So everything that could go wrong did go wrong. Is that fair to say? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They should have named this boat the OSHA violation.
Yeah. So the captain just decided to run the ship aground on North Brother Island. So he slammed the ship into North Brother Island, but he slammed the nose of the ship into the island, and that fire was spreading backwards. So everybody was crowded on the back of the ship and started jumping off the end and into the water. So nobody could make it forward onto the island. and patients and staff from Riverside Hospital actually came down and created like human chains to try and fish people out of the water. And so of about 1,300 people on that boat that day, 321 survived.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really bad.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. So, the captain ended up being the only person who was sentenced. There were a couple people charged from the crew and from the manufacturer of the life preservers, but the captain was the only one sentenced, and he was just sentenced to 10 years, and then the president threw his sentence out a couple years later. So really
Like
nobody...
presidential pardon?
Presidential pardon.
I can't believe they do that for that guy, but they won't pardon Joe Exotic. Pretty upset about it.
That's actually true.
What?
Carol
Joe,
Baskin.
it's true. It's true.
No, I understand that it's true, but your opinion.
Listen, I got Joe Exotic on my debit card.
That's Joe Exotic is like a 2020 fever dream. Yeah, but a lot of people don't really know about that one because only a couple years later the Titanic sank. So when people think of really bad boats sinking, they think the Titanic. But this was like the worst loss of life, in a single day in New York until 9/11. So you can imagine that there's probably a lot going on spiritually on that island. Yeah. And then it ended up being, they tried to do like a teen drug rehabilitation program in the 60s, but it didn't really work. And their program was to kidnap teens and lock them in a room until they just didn't want drugs anymore. Which,
that always works.
as we know today, is really effective.
If we've learned anything from the short story, The Yellow Wallpaper, it's that locking people in rooms makes them go less crazy. Yep, that's what we all learned from that story, right?
There's still stuff that happens like that nowadays, though. But it's usually not lock you in a room. Sometimes there are weird cults that will position themselves as like a reform school for like teens and kids that misbehave, and then
Or the American prison system.
Or the American prison system, but it's forced
like
labor. Forced labor is what it is, right? It's weird. It's like they have like, homosexual conversion camp, but you go there, it's like forced slave labor, and nobody wins.
Like the wilderness camps for unruly teens. They just make them hike 20 miles a day.
Oh, they do more than that.
Can't misbehave if you're falling asleep standing up because you're so exhausted.
Yeah.
Then when you do sleep, you sleep on the floor.
Yeah.
Or other people get to beat you.
Yeah.
Or if you're lucky, both.
And then you might meet the brother of a former president that was assassinated, who also committed a murder later or something.
Hi.
It's a lot of fun stories.
So many fun stories. But the island is actually, you can't go there. And it's a bird sanctuary now.
Oh, that's nice.
But occasionally they will allow people to go there for research, and so they let one guy in, and he went in and he took photos of everything, and he did find a couple rooms that had nail scratch marks down the wall, and he's all, I'm not really sure if these are from the drug treatment or smallpox or whatnot, because everybody that went there was kind of held against their will. But yeah, it was also the home for 26 years of Typhoid Mary. She's pretty famous.
She's fun.
Yeah. Are you gonna tell a little about her?
I am gonna tell all about her.
Oh, fun. We love a girl boss.
Yes.
Influencer. An influencer.
Oh my god. Jonah's on fire tonight.
You should update your name, your title.
I'm going to, honestly.
Influencer.
Influencer.
So
Gosh.
her name was Mary Mallon, and she was born in 1869. And she came over to America and loved cooking. So she set herself up as a cook for wealthy families over in New York. And a wealthy family all of a sudden would break out with typhoid, and she'd quit and disappear. And then another family would break out with typhoid, and she'd disappear. So she was just going around cooking for families, giving them typhoid, and as soon as they presented with it, she'd skedaddle onto the next family.
It's a smart move.
Treat. Treat.
Yeah. So
The thing about it, though, is like they caught her several times, and they're like, "Wash your hands," and she was like, "Okay," and then she didn't.
That's the nastiest part to me, because I even double checked and looked it up. Typhoid is spread through primarily feces. It can be spread through urine, but the main carrier is feces.
Pinworms.
Pinworms. I love
I don't know
that.
if anyone's seen that TikTok, but Justin and I watched a TikTok about a woman explaining pinworms, but she kept going, "Pinworms." And Justin
What?
will not stop singing pinworms.
She has a new edit with like, "I'm working late because I'm a pinworm," and I sing that all the time. We're gonna have to find that and put that in here.
Please find it.
I always find it really funny when influencers get famous and viral for doing one thing or saying one thing, and then they're perpetually haunted to keep doing that just to remain relevant.
She was explaining what pinworms are, and it comes from like scratching your booty and then like put it in your mouth, like many a disease. Coxsackie's another version of that, or it's better known as
That's
hand, foot,
how
and
you
mouth.
get a coli, pink eye,
Yeah.
all that.
But
good
like
stuff.
she's like it, like there's worms, and then you could feel them coming out of your butt. But she just kept singing pinworms. So Justin and I will look at each other and go, "Pinworms."
You got to
Yep.
change the, your SMS tone for when Justin texts you. You get a notification sound from Justin. It should be that pinworms.
You think my phone has been on anything but silent for like 3 years now?
Am I the only one that uses the ringer?
Yes.
Definitely.
I use my ringer. I don't
I'm
care.
a little surprised when I look at my phone.
I don't care if people have the ringer on their phone. The thing I care about is like when people have it go off full volume in public and they're like, "Where's my phone?" They start digging for it, and the speakers are like yeah,
There's
speakers
a
are shaking.
There's a lady at church. I was at church last Sunday, and there's an elderly woman sitting like row behind me and then a few people down. Her phone went off, and because she was elderly and hard of hearing, she couldn't hear it, but everybody around her was like looking at her like, "Shut your phone," but she didn't realize because she couldn't hear so well. So I can definitely agree with you there, Kay. I actually am very good about like theaters and church. Like I shut my ringer off. It's airplane mode all day. Otherwise, you get Party Boy from Jackass, if you know that.
No, I had Party Rock stuck in my head, and I was going to do this.
Oh, no. It's
I'm
when Chris
Sam.
Pontius will like go to a public place and then like turn on like dance music and then like grind on other guys. He like does the tear off Adidas pants. You know what I'm talking about? All right, I'm gonna cut that out and post. That's not
No,
paranormal.
no, that's fine. You keep that in. But yeah, so Typhoid Mary, she touched her booty.
Yeah,
A scratch. Sometimes it's itchy.
yeah.
And then proceed to cook.
Yeah. So this guy was chasing her for a long time because he's convinced that she is giving people typhoid. And she's like, "You are crazy. I'm not sick. It's not me." And so he's trying to get samples of her feces and urine. And I'm just kind of thinking, like, how's this guy doing that? Because he did it for a long time. And he finally convinces the police that she is the one getting all these people sick. And so the police are like, okay, they hunt her down. She's very good at hiding from the police. And she finally is like, "Okay, you got me." and comes on in
Yeah.
and does some tests, and turns out she does have typhoid.
Who would have thought? With the name
I would have coughed on the
Mary,
police too. You want to take me in?
And of course,
Typhoid Mary. Who would have thought?
and of course she, it comes back positive, but she's like, I'm not sick. I'm not making people sick. I'm not sick. And they're like, Mary, you're an asymptomatic carrier of it. And of course, Mary's like, no.
That doesn't exist. That doesn't.
No. So they take her to North.
This rhetoric sounds familiar. Like,
I know, right? I'm getting flashbacks over
I
here.
know, right? I'm like,
Weird.
Asymptomatic.
It's weird. Like I've gone through that in my lifetime. I feel like
Yeah.
it's weird.
Do you think when like that guy was trying to get her poop, she was like, "Are you like in love with me?
She's like, I'm a little creeped out, but I'm a little flattered.
Why are you so obsessed with me?"
Mary's doing like a little hair twirl.
Let's start off slow. I'll cook you a meal.
Frank, have you like talked to anyone named Mary recently? Mr. Tummy Hurts, but I'm being brave.
Oh no, not that I know of. No, I really don't think so.
Do you have a Typhoid Mary in your life?
Oh God, I hope not. So as far as I know, I don't. I'll let you know if I end up getting sick.
Perfect, thank you.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so they take Mary to North Brother Island, and they do more tests, and they're like, yes, you have it. You gotta stay here. You gotta be quarantined. And the entire time she is fighting, she is like, I feel fine. You are wrongfully imprisoning me. She is like going to all the authorities and trying to fight her way out of North Brother Island. And they finally give her the option to have her gallbladder removed, which they believe is where she's shedding the typhoid.
Oh,
And she's like, that's insane. Can you tell me why you think that? And they go, no.
Okay, I'm a little bit more on Mary's side. What?
Yeah.
I was
And-
less on Mary's side, more on Mary's side. What?
And they're like, it's probably there, but we're not 100% sure. And they didn't explain it very well. And so she fought against it. And finally, somebody up higher was like, you can't keep her here if you are telling her you'll let her go if she has a surgery, but you can't exactly explain why she needs the surgery. So finally, they let her go. But they say, Mary, you cannot cook for anybody ever again. You can go. You could be somebody in the house, like, taking care of a house, maid servant, something like that. But you cannot cook for anybody. And she's like, got it. Cool. Awesome. And she gets off the island. She's like, absolutely not. No.
she's got a dream, and that dream is to cook.
Yep. She said the entire time she was at the island, she was dreaming of cooking. That's what she wanted to do. So she gets off the island. She starts working again under a fake name and doing the same thing. And so they start seeing these little hot spots of typhoid start popping up. And they're like, it's got to be Mary. And so they start hunting her down again. She is fleeing as hard as she can this time.
Leaving literal breadcrumbs of typhoid everywhere.
Well, like little poop crumbs of typhoid everywhere. And I'm like, Mary, if you would have just washed your hands, that's easier than working under a fake name. I don't know.
Can't keep a good woman down.
So
It's her special seasoning. It's just
before they caught her the first time, they believe that directly or indirectly, she could have caused as many as 3,000 typhoid infections in New York. Whether that be from she had direct contact with this person, or she got a person sick and that person got another person sick. 3,000 people, multiple deaths. After she was released and told not to cook again, in 3 months after she was released, she contaminated 25 people and killed 2. So they sent her back, and she stayed there until she died. And she was adamant until the day she died that she was not infectious. And while believed to have infected up to 3,000 people in 1 year, they proved she had infected at least 122 people and had killed 5. And she's adamant till the day she died. She didn't do that. Wasn't her.
So everyone wash your hands before you cook. That's all we're going to say.
I'm about to...
That was,
Who's microwaving?
That was not a microwave. Kim was shutting off the light that is above the oven, so that beeped twice. Sorry.
Okay. Did she wash her hands?
Yes.
Did you see her do it?
Confidently enough?
No, it's fine, guys.
20 seconds under hot water.
She's every night around this time she actually goes to shower, so she walks past me on her way to the shower, and I guess she forgot to shut the stove light off, so that was that beeping. But she is very hygienic. Don't worry.
Good. Hunter,
we were really worried until this moment.
yeah.
Why? Because I hesitated when you asked me if she washed her hands. I'm like, I think she's about to wash her whole body. Like,
But the hands, Frank. Hunter complains if he doesn't have foamy soap to wash his hands. He's a little princess.
The suds get it.
Yeah. I bought regular soap once, and he's like, but it's not foamy.
are you talking about like bar soap?
No,
No,
like
he's
the
talking
pump
about, like, it's
foamy soap.
pre-foamed.
Oh.
Does Hunter want the ones that are like in like Japan and Korea that like it looks like a paw print or something when you press down on it, or a little flower?
I almost got one from Disneyland, but I didn't want to pay $20 for soap.
That makes sense. That does make sense.
But
We all
yeah,
know what we're getting Hunter for Christmas this year.
he'd
Yeah.
be so happy. That and fuzzy socks.
I'm a sock guy. I could hook him up. I've got a few favorite brands. Does he like designs on them, or does he just like the way they feel? You guys can't see this, but I'm doing this like by my thighs. Does he like the way that they feel? Or does he like just...
Like the way it feels.
Like
he like the
it
ones with, like-
feels.
Does he like the ones with like slices of pizza and stuff on them? Because I buy myself some novelty socks. I've got like some paranormal socks that y'all never see. Like I've got like Edgar Allan Poe socks and whatnot.
We should
I know
just,
it's-
before every episode, just have Frank show his socks.
Drip
I think
check.
we need a Frank foot cam. That's what.
Yes.
We're trying. Oh, Charlie, we're trying to monetize here eventually.
That's how we monetize.
That is. We're maybe not on YouTube.
You
like
get
as well, wiki
this.
feet. We need your wiki feet rating.
You get
Let's-
this for free.
I'm
You
gonna
gotta
tell you something
pay
with
for
confidence.
Frank's feet.
I'm going to tell you something with confidence. I've been told by more than one person that as far as men's feet go, I have really nice feet. But men's feet are nasty, and I still would score them a 1 out of 10 compared to any lady's feet, I would say.
Okay. You're allowed to be proud of yourself. It's okay.
I'm just saying. I don't think I could sell them.
You could do a foot cam of you doing the show with your socks on. And
You
then
get a Harrison
afterwards,
cam, and I'll get a foot cam.
you could auction those socks off.
So
How did we get to this point, guys? First I get replaced with bread. Now you guys want to sell my socks?
Justin also likes novelty socks, and his mom bought him a pair of
Good man.
lilac ones that have little rubber duckies on them.
I'm jealous.
You're at J. Crew if you want to go get them.
No, I don't like J. Crew. They're a fashion brand, and I'm too snobby. I'm sorry.
I have a pair of Halloween socks, and it has a little ghost on it, and it says "Boo Sheet."
Oh, that's nice.
I have a dress that says "Here for the booze" that has the ghost on it drinking.
I've got...
Socks.
I was thinking about making a shirt because I saw one just like it that somebody had like drawn here in the city, where it's got like people with jack-o'-lanterns on their head, but they're women that are dressed sexy, and it's like, we've got some horrors in this house. And then you think of the song. Yeah, you think of the song when you're looking at that shirt. So I was thinking about like making some merch. We'll see. I don't know. Well, we're talking about spooky apparel. Okay, fine.
No, it's fine. I was laughing at something. So I used to be on a different podcast, and at one point I made a design that said "Exercise me, Daddy." I found it really funny. to say daddy and to make people uncomfortable, but I might have said it too much and now I'm uncomfortable with the term daddy.
You know what's really funny? You figure there somewhere at some point, sometime, there are two scientists that study spiders. And they're like, man, we like this spider, this long-legged spider, but we really need a name to emphasize some mild sexuality. What do we call this long-legged spider? Two scientists.
Yeah.
Two sides.
Do you want me to say daddy long legs? Is that what you want
No,
me to say?
I want you to think it. You don't have to say it out loud.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's
Thought it.
you took the thunder right out of the joke, Joan.
I didn't understand if you were waiting for the punchline.
No, there's no punch. God.
Okay, what were you saying?
Wash your hands after you go to the bathroom. Don't be like Mary.
Yeah, as a kid, so anytime I saw one, I turned around and ran the other way.
There used to be, when I was young, there used to be like a weird rumor that they had like twice the venom as like a black widow, so you couldn't touch them. I don't know where that originated from. And then there was like a rumor that like there was always at least one black widow under everyone's house, so like don't go in a crawl space.
Okay, but like really, like speaking of spiders, I'm traumatized right now because like when I went to Japan, we would look into the trees and up in the trees and there would be these huge spiders. I mean, like big as my hand spiders. And
Nope.
I was like, my heart cannot handle it. And then I learned upon arriving back in New Jersey that we were having an infestation of those said spiders. And then Justin the other day was like, I think I found a juvenile of it.
Is it because you brought them back from Japan, or do we also have them here?
They were apparently in the Carolinas and then have come up north to like the Jersey area.
Hey, you know what?
But I did joke that I brought them back when speaking to my mother-in-law about it specifically.
I don't care because I'm in Chicago, so sorry, Joan.
Do you want me to bring you some?
No, but if one day it's like your turn and you sign on and it's actually just a spider sitting behind the mic, I'll know why at least.
The worst is like they like make webs above your head. So like you'll be like walking and you're like, this is my life. I love my life. And then you look up and you're like, they're going to hit me. They're going to do it.
Let me ask you this. Do you guys also have the cicadas out right now for this time of year, or no?
We are supposed to. I haven't heard too many of them yet.
Oh, there's thousands here. Literally, like you walk up and down the sidewalks and there's hundreds dead all over the sidewalk. And we were getting some boba tea, Kim and I, this weekend. And right outside the boba shop, there was a spider web and there was a cicada hanging from one that died in there. And I'm like, wow, that's got to be one huge fucking spider.
Right.
Killed a cicada.
Do you guys have the issue with the lantern flies?
No, I don't really know that we have lantern flies. What does that look like?
So we have a Chinese lanternfly that's an invasive species, and we were told as citizens that if you see them, kill them immediately.
No, we don't have that. I looked that up.
Really bad for like our local trees and things like that.
We had the Asian longhorn beetle here like 10 years ago.
Okay, no, like we've had they've been less recently, but there are lanternflies, and we're. One time, Justin and I had to go someplace, but we were 5 minutes late because we found a nest of them, so we had to keep trying to kill them. It's our civic duty. And in our wedding photos, there's a series of pictures where there was a fly on Justin's leg, but like each photo you see it go up a little bit higher.
You know, that reminds me. So I used to have a terrarium on my desk at work. I used to work in an office and I had a terrarium on my desk and there was like some succulents in there and I had like a solar light so they could grow when I'm not there or whatever on a timer. And like I had a coworker, Joyce, who was outside eating lunch and she saw a caterpillar. So she thought it would be a good idea to trap it and then bring it inside so it could live in my terrarium and we were going to give it a name and all this shit. Yeah, no, we did. So she brought it in.
Delicate ecosystems.
She brought in the caterpillar and I was like, oh, cool, a caterpillar. And then we put it in the terrarium, and it was weird because it had all these really long, like, hairs. It looked really fierce. I'm like, wow, some kind of fucking, it's going to get into a cocoon and come out a dragon. And then we found out it was like an invasive moth. And I'm like, I'm sorry, guys, we have to kill Fluffy because we named it Fluffy at the office. so then I had to take it to the bathroom and kill it. And then, it was so funny. So we killed it. And then that terrarium is also a funny story because we went into the pandemic. And I left it on my desk because one day we went home for the weekend and like they were like over the weekend we got an email like, don't come into the office. use the computer and do your work from home. So I never went back for the terrarium, and I had quit the job during the pandemic. And then I found out later on that, like, when they had the first return to office before the Omicron variant, my director, who I sat next to, came in, and the terrarium smelled so bad, like rotting, because there's nobody to like take care of it. So they had to fucking toss it, and they had like an hour-long meeting to discuss, like, do we tell Frank? Do we reimburse him? And they're like, you know what? No, fuck that guy. Throw out his fucking terrarium. He doesn't work here anyway. Like, it was hilarious.
You weren't coming back for it. What does it matter?
Nah. It's because I'm the type of dude, I'll go to Michael's and see a nice little glass terrarium, and I'm like, oh, that would be really nice on my desk. Let me get one of those.
Aw, you're like a little crow.
Rip in peace,
Something
Fluffy.
shiny. No,
I'll bring it to you. I'll bring it to you like a crow.
Thank you. Thanks? What? No. Anyway.
That's what they do. You befriend a crow and you feed it, and they bring you shiny objects and money and shit.
Yeah.
I haven't fed you. Don't bring me shit. I don't want your shit.
Wait, I fed you, but you did bring me some stuff, so I'll let
I
it
did
go.
bring you shiny things.
There were some shiny things. Sorry
It was
for
a
derailing.
wedding gift, guys. Anyway.
Sorry for derailing.
Yeah. Was there more to that, Kay?
So wash your hands.
I just wanted to know if there was more about like any other inhabitants. That's fine. I wanted to circle back to something that you said about like how this hospital had really good intentions and then got overfilled. And I feel like I've done research about a local asylum that's been shut down, and like that feels like it's a lot of places that like they start with like, we're gonna do this new thing and it's gonna be great and it's gonna be like better for the population, and then we find that like this abuse and neglect comes in when there's like an influx of patients and not enough like support for things. So I just found it interesting that like once again I feel like that's a story for like a lot of these haunted hospitals and asylums, and what are the ones that take care of people who have like consumption? They have a special
sanatorium.
name. There we go, a sanatorium.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's something that we still struggle with today. Is it's really difficult to find people who are able to mentally and emotionally handle doing that job and working in a place like that. And so even now, those buildings are chronically understaffed. And so, you know, it's hard when you are always stressed and always understaffed and going to work in a very taxing environment. And I think you just become desensitized to it. And then you do some stuff that you wouldn't normally do. And then the patients don't get the care that they, you know, really deserve. And I think that's still the same now as it was 100 years ago. I think we have laws and things in place to hopefully take better care of our people, but it's still something we struggle with, you know?
Yeah. I mean, we heard a lot of like elder abuse and things like that during the pandemic and like continuing now. I do wonder, that being said, that like we do hear about like influenza outbreaks, like Spanish flu and consumption, as I mentioned, and like a lot of ghost stories coming from those places. I wonder what the psyche of the world will look like in like 50 years about COVID or what pandemic, whatever you want to call it, and like what ghost stories comes out of those, because I feel like there has to be ghost stories at this point.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, I think it's interesting that, you know, we built all of these hospitals when there was a smallpox outbreak and polio and all these other things. And I don't know if you guys had it in your area, but in our area, there were conversations about sending people to schools. In our area, they were talking about taking elementary, middle, and high schools that weren't being used because everyone was quarantined and putting people there when they were sick to try and help during the COVID pandemic. I don't know if that was a conversation that happened everywhere else.
I think that happened a lot in like China. They would use public buildings and like just section off people because they were having a hard time like bringing food to everybody. Like once they, like, because they had very strict lockdown things, but like you had to be in certain areas, and even if you weren't sick, but if you were like on the list of people that were like,
do you need to go check on your wife?
Do you guys hear that too? Hold on.
yes,
Can you make sure that she's not like passed out in the shower?
That was scary. Did she get typhoid fever? Oh no!
Frank, wash your hands.
Frank, wash your hands. But as I said, it'll be interesting to hear the ghost tales that come from like COVID, because you'd have to assume, and like the tales we have about basically anything that happened during the Victorian Civil War era is very romanticized. It sounds like, I feel like that's such a common timepiece, like trope. Like there's a woman and she's like, huh, huh, and then she like coughs and she looks and there's blood. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because we're pretty much back to completely normal now, but occasionally you'll be walking somewhere and you'll see a little something, you know, like the plexiglass still up or like a sticker on the floor, and you're like, oh my gosh, I lived through that.
Is the outline of feet stickers everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
Such ghost marks of the past.
Well, now New York is looking at banning masks because they hide people's identities, so shouldn't allow people to wear them. Anyway,
I have opinions. I won't say them, but I have opinions.
Oh, how the turntables.
exactly.
They keep turning tables, turning around. I will say my husband comes from a culture where they have a very low crime rate and they wear masks a lot of the time. So I feel like there's examples out there. And that's all I'll say. I will say I've been watching an anime recently that involves like a deaf person and like talking about wearing the masks in Japanese culture. And she's like, I can't read their lips, which most of the population, like most of the deaf population, cannot read lips. I will put that out there. But thinking about that is very difficult. It is infuriating also watching this anime because they keep shouting her name and I'm like, can't hear you, guys. She can't.
Yeah, you're
Stop
not
doing
helping
that.
anything.
I'm like, I can hear you, but she can't. So.
What do you want?
What's
Is
going
it a
on?
cat?
It's a cat.
Yeah. You want to talk again, Frank? You want to try? Aw. Cat got your tongue, Frank? Was it that cat? Ah, kitty, kitty, kitty.
Oh,
He's so upset he can't say anything right now.
I will see if I can have Frank put it in post, but I have a photo of Mary in Riverside Hospital, and she's laying in a bed and she's just looking at the camera. Just like
Smoldering
ticked
side-eye.
off, like, I don't want to be here.
Oh, yeah. Because they're keeping her from her true passion of cooking.
She needs to cook.
She does. You know, like, sometimes you just get a passion. And, you know, you don't have to be good at it. You just have to be passionate.
They let her work in radiology occasionally there.
Well, yeah, the radioactive elements will just kill off the typhoid. I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah.
They're hoping she licked her fingers there, too. Become one of the radon girls.
Oh, gosh.
She wasn't that far away, just across the river, honestly, so.
What is crazy, though, is when she died, they did an autopsy, and they found that she was shedding typhoid from her gallbladder. So if she would...
Every doctor was like, I told her!
Yeah. They're like, see, we were right. We knew it.
They didn't know it, though. That's the problem.
Yeah.
I'm with Mary on that one. You can't just be like, I'm gonna cut into you because I think this is what's causing it. It's like, no. You need to know.
It goes back to, like, the conversations we had a couple shows back when they're like, women cannot ride trains because their uteruses will fly out of their body.
Mm-hmm. And their gallbladders will cause typhoid
Yes.
fever.
The typhoid is in the black bile. Get us the leeches.
Actually, there is still bleaches. They still do that for bloodlettings a little bit. It helps with circulation.
Yeah.
I learned that when I went to the museum in Chicago next to the Shed Aquarium that I can't think of the name of right now. Frank, you could
Frank
type it
can't
if you
tell
need
us.
to. No, Frank can't tell me. But they had, while I was there for Frank's wedding, they had a whole, the Field Museum, thank you. They had a whole exhibit about bloodsuckers. And they talked a little bit about like animal bloodsuckers and insect bloodsuckers, as well as folklore bloodsuckers. So that was a good time.
Ooh.
Yeah. And I learned that the only thing that really keeps mosquitoes off of you is DEET. So just use DEET.
My mom got eaten alive by mosquitoes this weekend. And my brother goes, man, it's just so crazy because mosquitoes are so small and they have like a circulatory system and everything. And my mom goes, do you really think the mosquitoes have blood running through them?
I mean, human blood.
Yeah.
Technically.
Like one way or another, Mom. Yeah.
But
Only
because
females too.
Because insects are so small, usually they're kind of more of an open system. That's why there's like just goo. And the way that you oxygenate, they oxygenate their blood, they actually have holes in their carapace spiracules that allow oxygen to just...
Wow, Charlie, look at all
Charlie,
those vocab
you're so
words.
smart.
Wow. Why are you like obsessed with bugs?
Oh my gosh.
I just like to know a little bit about a lot of things.
Charlie, do you go to like trivia a lot?
I used to, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Correct.
used to host trivia as well.
Of course. It's fine. That makes, right. Correct. That is the correct answer.
And I was in...
Frank would like to say makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was in Knowledge Bowl in high school. Did you guys have Knowledge Bowl on the East Coast or Midwest?
No. What
It's
is
like-
that?
It's I would say it's the second nerdiest thing you could do in high school.
We have
where it's
Battle
like
of the
you-
Books.
Yeah, Battle of the Books, that's another one where you read the books and you have to know the trivia specifically about the books. But I was more of a generalist, so Knowledge Bowl, you make a team of up to 4 and you compete against two other teams, and you have they give you a buzzer. It's basically just a game show for general knowledge stuff. So we went to semifinals. Pretty good.
Congratulations. Someone asked me if I was good at trivia one time, and they said I feel like you would be because I feel like I know just a bit of random facts. And I was like, no, because they never asked the random facts I know. Which I was like, but I guess that's technically what trivia is anyway. So I don't know. Is one actually good at trivia? Frank is shrugging. So
I mean, it definitely
won't
helps to
help
know
him.
a bunch of random stuff. But yeah, you're right. Some days the questions just aren't with you,
No, it's not.
Especially I have trouble when there's specialist night where they're like, oh, it's 80s music night, or it's Seinfeld night, or whatever it is. I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna get these.
I don't know anything about that.
If you give me a broad spectrum, I'm like, okay, I can get half of these at least, and then the rest of my team can fill in. We'll be fine.
Yeah. Frank says, I'd crush Seinfeld night. Really, Frank?
Yeah.
You like Seinfeld? Name 3 Seinfelds.
Name every episode right now.
Name every... My favorite trivia thing is, it's not a trivia, it's just a joke. It's like, oh, you're a feminist? Name every woman. And then someone goes, Whitney Houston.
That's it.
Yeah, that is. He says, like people with the last name? Up to interpretation.
I only know 2. I think it's Jerry and his wife is Jessica.
2 women.
No, two people with this. Yeah,
Jerry and Jessica.
Joan and Kay, they're right
Yeah.
there. I'm cheating.
I know 2 women. They're right here.
And one's my mom.
What's my mommy? Frank goes, do you really know them, though?
Charlie and I go way back to
Yeah.
like
Charlie
6
and I
months
have,
ago, but
Yeah, 6 Charlie and I talk. If I see something funny, I'll send it to him sometimes.
Yeah.
Charlie happens to catch me when I'm drunk a lot, which makes me feel like he thinks I drink a lot, and it's just really Friday nights.
Yeah, it's just I work kind of late, so I'm always up late, which I then realized for you guys is even later because we're
Charlie
Pacific
texts
time.
me at 9 his time. It's like 12 o'clock my time. I'm like,
I just
yeah,
got off
bud,
work. I'm like
what's
ready to
up?
go.
Sometimes I message in the Discord. I'm like, oh, it's like 2 o'clock.
It's okay. I'll answer you in the morning when it's 7 my time and like 4 in the morning yours. So, but I also no, it's that, and like I get specifically very chatty when I'm drunk. So I'm just like, I have inputs I need to tell everybody. Let me tell them right now. But I like to think I'm fun. I don't text exes, only people I know. And usually I tell them how pretty they are. I'm like, you're so pretty. I love you. The one time Joan texted Kim, it was when she was drunk. Yeah, no, it was. And I think I told her that I love her, that she's pretty. Frank says he doesn't know. But I did promise Kim I would text her not drunk the next time I text her. I only texted her one time, and I was drunk, and I got embarrassed that I was drunk when I did it. But you didn't retext because I was embarrassed. She's waiting this whole... Oh, no.
Text her right now.
I am.
You're beautiful. I love you.
You're beautiful. You're beautiful. History.
Frank, do you want to give us a final thought?
Yeah, do you want to type in the chat your final thought? We can go around to everybody else while you do that.
My final thought. Let me get this for you.
Thanks, Frank. Shut up, Frank.
I'm working late because I'm a pinworm.
Pinworms.
That's fine.
Pinworms. My final thought is, even if you're a girl boss, you should wash your hands.
Definitely.
Girl bosses with passion still have dirty fingies, and they should clean them. So,
Girl bossed, hands washed.
especially get under your fingernails, you little nasties.
Yeah, I mean, okay, well, I'll let this bleed into my final thought.
Go
but,
ahead, do it.
I know this was the 1800s, 19th century, so like, there was running water, there was some plumbing, but not like the best hygiene at all. And the fact that they're even saying wash your hands, I'm like, that's amazing to me. They're like, they even thought that. But like, it's not like she had a bidet or anything. Just, to put it nicely. But also, didn't she have a stroke before they, like, one of the times that they, it's not like she was doing well anyway. I mean, she was actively employed, I guess, but
Yeah, she had a stroke when she was on the island her second time, and she was basically bedridden in the hospital for the last 6 or 7 years of her life. But before that, she was just living her life on the island, and sometimes they'd let her help out in radiology and stuff like that. Girl bossing.
Just girl bossing.
Not hand washing.
Not hand washing. Girl bossing, but not hand washing.
that's a shirt.
Yeah. Speaking of creatures that do wash their hands before they eat, have you guys ever seen the little video of the raccoon that gets cotton candy?
No.
And raccoons
I've
wash
seen
their
it, but-
food, so it puts the cotton candy in the water. And then it's like, where is it? Where is it? It does it like twice before it figures out like you just need to eat it. But like the first time he puts it in and like it's gone. And then the second time he like puts it in and like sees it's dissolving and like grabs it and tries to eat it really quickly. It's my
That
favorite.
video makes me so sad.
Poor raccoons.
And then Frank's final thought is, my final thought is, don't smoke crack or text drunk. I'm going to change my dryer song to that song. You fucking texted her, didn't you? That's all his final thoughts. The answer is yes, I did fucking text her. She answered me already. Don't give her that look. We're female bonding. Don't give me that look either. Fix your face. Okay. So once again, thank you for joining us tonight. You can find us here if you're watching, wherever you are. That's kind of silly, but you can also find us on YouTube, Twitch, or wherever you can listen to podcasts. If you would like to leave us just a little teeny morsel of love, you can leave a comment or you can give us a 5-star rating wherever you can. Yeah, I'm doing a call to action, Frank, like a professional. I might not be an opener, but I certainly am a closer.
The closer. Kira Sedgwick.
Yeah. And if you really want us to pay attention to you, because you want that, you want attention from us, you should leave the emoji of, what's a good emoji?
The ghost.
A water drop and a hand, so we know that you are washing your hands.
Oh, okay.
Frank is giving me this look like he's a disappointed dad, and it's making me feel bad about myself.
I think you're doing great,
His hands
Joe.
are like on his hip, and he like. That means nothing to me. You're scratching your butt.
Just wash your
Wash
hands.
your hands,
Wash your
Frank.
hands. Don't cook anything.
Okay, Mary.
Okay, yeah. Okay, play our outro song. Bye. I'm stopping the stream.